Am I the a-hole for leaving when I was asked to babysit, forcing my dad's fiancée to cancel her plans? I, 17 male, lived with my mom until a year ago when her disability got to the point where she was placed in a care home that's like a hospice. My dad was never a big presence in my life, and he still isn't. I live with him now, but I need to be self-sufficient and pay for my own things, or get help from my maternal grandparents. It's all kinds of messed up, but he was always that way. His reason for having me here is so he doesn't have to pay child support, because he had to pay for 16 years before that. My grandparents even promised they wouldn't ask for child support, but he still said no, and he was smug about being my dad, and that he'd win over them anyway. My dad is engaged to a woman who has a 3-year-old with someone else and a 6-month-old with him. I moved in around the same time she and her kid did, and she was pregnant then. I don't know much about her, and I don't spend time around her or the kids. Last Saturday, I had a day off work and wasn't planning on doing anything when my dad and his fiancée said I needed to babysit the kids because they had plans. Dad left first, and she told me she'd be gone for about 6 hours. She started trying to tell me the schedule for the 6-month-old and the 3-year-old, but I just said no way and left the house. I didn't have anything planned, but I wasn't willing to babysit, so I left before she could go. She tried yelling after me, but I kept going and didn't come back until late. Dad was back by then, and the two of them started yelling at me, saying I had no right to walk out and leave the kids without a sitter. I pointed out their mom was home, and they said that wasn't the point. I told them it was the point and that I did not want to babysit and didn't have to. I told them I would never babysit, so they'd better find someone else when they need it, because it won't be me, and I will leave every single time. She tried to guilt-trip me about canceling her plans, and I asked her why it was my problem that she didn't prepare a sitter for her kids before making plans. She even got her sister, who I don't think I'd met before, to come over and tell me I was a crappy person, and that I took my daddy issues out on her sister and her kids. I rolled my eyes, packed my stuff, and left after that. I'm hoping he doesn't try taking this to custody court, and if he does, I hope he gets a date after I turn 18, so it's a waste of time. Am I the a-hole? I'm asking because I know she didn't personally do anything to me, and she might have appreciated it or something, I don't know. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. This is why your dad wanted you at home instead of your grandparents. They wanted a built-in babysitter. They are takers and users. Since you're out already, never go back. Never give in. Sorry you're going through this. If your maternal grandparents are close enough to you, make sure you keep anything you truly want there for safekeeping. He will escalate, and if he does, have your grandparents go to court and explain why you want to live with them. He doesn't want his son. He wants staff to watch the kids. I would have walked out too. Also, point out to the court that he is neither paying child support for you nor providing support beyond a roof over your head, despite claiming authority over you as a minor in his care. He can't treat you like an adult roommate when it comes to feeding and supporting yourself, and like a child when it comes to requiring you to do chores for his family. Not the a-hole. Tell them that if they try to leave the kids with you against your will, you will call the police and CPS and declare the kids have been abandoned by them. Leaving kids with an unwilling sitter is considered abandonment by law. I agree with the above with one exception. Don't tell them. Just call CPS. Let them strand you with the children, then call 911. Don't lie to the cops. Tell them you didn't agree to babysit and that you don't know how to take care of the infant. Let them take the kids. These kids will be better off in the system than with these parents. You're a teenage boy, so I understand your attitude, but I will never understand how every single commenter on posts like this encourages young minors to completely abandon their half-siblings, siblings who are about to grow up with the same crappy dad the OPs had. Here's what I think. Your mother is dying. Your grandparents will be too, sooner than you think. You'll never have a relationship with your dad, with good reason. Why not make a connection with the only family you will have left? My mom isn't gone yet. She's dying, but she's still alive. I have more family than just my mom and my grandparents. I have cousins I've grown up with who are like siblings to me, so I won't be alone when I lose my grandparents. and I don't feel anything for either of those kids. I don't want a relationship. Next story. Am I the a-hole for walking out on my dad when he told me he finds it hard to love me because he knows I don't love his wife? My dad married Lily when I, 19 male, was 10. I didn't want her around at the start and got really upset that Dad was married 2 years after my mom died. Lily told me she understood me not wanting a new mom or stepmom and that we could be friends if I'd prefer that. For a while I didn't, but then I came around a bit. We developed a not super close friendship, but it's there. We're not the most natural fit around each other, but we're both pretty open and honest, which meant we didn't hurt each other's feelings or anything, and we like each other. My dad never got involved, really. The only time he said anything was when Lily was pregnant with their first, and I was about to have a half-sibling. Dad said he noticed I wasn't very excited, and I was like, yeah, I'm not really. He told me he wanted it to be an exciting time for me as well, and I told him it just wasn't. But I did later get involved a bit to make him happy, and that was basically it. They celebrated both pregnancies and kids. I was never excited, but I developed a fondness for my half-siblings, and everything was good. My relationship with Dad was super close, or so I thought, until this. I was supposed to be spending the day with my dad a few weeks ago, only for him to turn around and tell me he wasn't sure he wanted to. He said he finds it hard to love me because he holds the knowledge that I don't love his wife, and by not loving his wife, I don't love the family they have created the way he wants me to. He said this makes it very hard to keep our connection alive. This was totally out of nowhere. We'd had the plans for over 2 weeks, and I drove 3 hours just to be told that. I didn't really have anything to say to any of that, so I walked out and went back home. He has texted me a few times since then, asking why I left, saying he wants to talk. His wife and I texted a bit, and she told me she didn't understand what happened. I told her she might want to talk to him, and I filled her in on what happened. That took her by surprise, and she said she'd talk to him and get his head on straight. She later texted and apologized that he did it supposedly on her behalf, and she wanted me to know there are no hard feelings. Dad has told me he wants to talk it out, and that he wants me to understand that walking out like I did wasn't the right way to handle it either, but that we can't leave it like that. I asked him what the point of talking is, when he doesn't know if he wants to spend time with me and finds it so hard to keep the connection going. Am I the a-hole? I would have walked out too, not the a-hole. Exactly. Like, why would you stay when he dropped that on you? It was a power move. Dad was trying to force his kid to beg for love and offer anything for his dad to spend time with him. The mindset was essentially, if I force my kid to drive for hours to see me, then suggest skipping our plans because I want them to say or do something, it means I have all the power now. OP was right to walk away. I'd follow up by saying, walking away is all he will ever get if he tries anything like that again. And next time they meet, Dad will be the one driving for hours. Yes, a power play or a setup for something else. A favor. Something to do with step-siblings. Some kind of financial matter / will / guardianship. That didn't just come out of nowhere. Walking out may have unintentionally kept some power in OP's hands when that other shoe drops. Not the a-hole. His love for his own son is contingent on how much his son loves his stepmom. That is batshit crazy. Even weirder, I don't think stepmom manipulated this. I think it's all on Dad. My friend's dad dropped her like a hot potato once he had kids with his new wife, and his new wife put more effort into trying to keep that relationship between him and her alive than he ever did. Next story. Am I the a-hole for cutting off my entire family after they tried to have me trespassed from the house I paid for while I was caring for my newborn? My dad's dying wish was that I look after the family. For 10 years, I paid every bill, bought my mom a $32,000 car, and even built a tiny home for myself, all while they refused to work. When my son was a newborn and we were moving, they called the police to trespass me from the house I'd paid for since I was 15. When that didn't work, they tried to steal my cars. When I was 15, my dad died. People romanticize last words, but mine were him telling me to look after the family. I hated the man. He was abusive, but I still took it seriously. From 15 to 25, I paid for everything. The family home, the bills, the food. I even bought my mom a brand new $32,000 car. Over the years, I poured tens to hundreds of thousands into keeping them afloat while they stayed on benefits and didn't work. Every time I asked to put the house in my name, they dodged it. If I mentioned buying another property, they guilt-tripped me into backing down. They also had a habit of borrowing my tools when I was away working, or removing parts from my cars to fix whatever heaps they had, without ever asking or replacing them. I built a self-contained one-bedroom on the property out of my own pocket. But when my partner got pregnant, I decided my priority was going to be my own kid. I offered to buy the property officially, but they came back with a price so absurd that no real estate agent would touch it. So we bought another place. My son was 4 months old around this time, and I was at home caring for him while my partner worked during the day. Family showed up and caused a fit. Later that night, my sister called the police to trespass me from the house I'd been paying for over a decade. When that failed, she threatened to steal my cars. They started insulting me, calling me a terrible father. That night, a group of friends came to my aid. They moved all my cars and the rest of our stuff, as we had already started moving. I was so emotionally wrecked that I broke my 2 years of sobriety. Edit: I live in New Zealand. I work on fishing vessels and make decent money. My partner earns good money and has done well in life. That's how we bought our current home. Now for the comments. Nah, you're taking control of your life and your real family. Block them, change all passwords, and lock down your credit. I wish you well. I have blocked them except my nieces. They don't deserve to be ignored, but my mother and sister are dead to me. My mother showed up on my son's birthday, and I didn't let her through the gate. Still hurts. I want my son to have a family. He has a family, you. Don't let the toxic people be in his life. He needs people like you. Thanks. It's been a few years now, but still makes me cry, and I'm a 6'2", 225-pound guy. No shame in that. Your dad was wrong in what family needed taking care of. It's yours. My best friend once said, "Don't let the family you come from dictate the family you create." And I think that helped a lot. Not the a-hole. Please keep them cut off. Your child, your family, your sobriety, and your peace of mind are worth so much more than whatever family connection they're using against you. I don't care about blood relation. True family doesn't treat family that way. You have a true family now. Embrace them and leave the others behind. I feel like your comment about your relapse seemed very flippant, and I want to give it more attention. Your sobriety is so important, and I really hope you're addressing the relapse and the feelings behind it. Even if you keep your family cut off, other things will come up in your life where using seems like the most logical reaction. I want you to be prepared for those situations so you don't slip again. For your little family, you need to prioritize your sobriety. It could be the catalyst for losing everything. Speaking from experience, a relapse needs to be a learning opportunity for you. I'm doing much better now. I always turned to drugs and alcohol when I couldn't handle anything. I am sober again and doing much better. I'm learning how to handle my emotions and not just default to rage. My son and partner have been the best thing for this, and without them, I'd still be a piece of ish. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to lend my sister money after she got everything growing up? I, 32 male, am the oldest of 3. My sister, 27 female, is the youngest, and it was obvious early on who the favorite was. I'm not exaggerating. She got the name brand clothes, the newest phone, and more freedom. When she totaled her car at 17, our parents bought her another one right away. When I asked for help covering my college books, they told me to get another job, so I stopped asking. I started working at 16 and didn't stop. I paid my way through college, shared rent with roommates, and skipped trips while she lived rent-free at home into her 20s. When she maxed out her credit cards, they paid them off. When she failed classes, they got her tutors. When I failed something, I figured it out on my own. Now I've got a stable job and a small apartment. I've saved some money, not a ton, but enough to feel secure for once. Last week, she called and said she was in debt and needed $5,000. I asked why. She just said credit card bills and didn't want to explain more, only that she was overwhelmed. I told her no, not because I can't. I technically could, but I knew if I said yes, it would just be more of the same. I offered to help her find a budgeting app and told her to look into debt consolidation or talk to a financial advisor. She got mad and said I was being cold, that I was still stuck on childhood stuff. But that stuff never really ended. She still lives in our parents' guest house, rent-free. They still pay her phone bill. Now they're mad at me too, saying families should help each other out. But where was that help when I was skipping meals and juggling jobs just to pay rent? Am I the a-hole for saying no to the sister who's always had help when I never really did? You don't have to lend money to anyone if you don't want to. True, and in this case, I really don't want to, especially knowing how things have always been. Lol, just tell her and your parents that she must just get another job. Does she even have a job? How is she going to pay you back when she can't pay back her creditors? Why aren't your parents stepping in and lending her the money? No need to feel guilty for saying no. You work hard for your money. You're not the a-hole. She's financially irresponsible. And how is she in debt when she doesn't have any bills to pay? You misspelled lend. It should have said give, because you know she'd never pay you back. They say lend only because it sounds less brutal than give. Sis can work it out herself. She has absolutely no outgoings, no rent, bills, or phone. Nothing. Every penny is hers alone. It's her fault her spending is out of control, and you owe her nothing. Personally, I don't know many people who can lay their hands on $5,000, and even fewer who are able to give away $5,000 with no realistic expectation of ever getting it back. As soon as someone uses "but family," you know you're doing the right thing. They only use it when it's to your disadvantage, be it money, childcare, housing, or a job. It always somehow becomes your problem and puts you in a worse situation than not helping. It's a tried and trusted method to guilt trip someone into doing something that any sensible person would say hell no to. I'm surprised you aren't at least low contact with these people. They've shown you all your life what they think of you, and that's not at all. You are there, but you aren't family. You are just someone they can now use when they need to. Tell sis to go crawl to your parents again. After all, she's going to inherit the lot when they die, so she might as well spend it while they are still alive. You know their will won't even mention you.